So I do things backwards from what other people do. Most people will create a video, then they're like, oh, what would be a good title for this? No, let me go ahead, and while this thing is uploading, I'm going to go ahead and make a thumbnail for it, right? That's what most people do. I do it absolutely backwards. Before I even push record on a video, I come up with a title and thumbnail first, because if I can't make a good title and thumbnail first, why make the video?
All right, folks, we are back. We're back this week, and I've got a really good one for you today. Really good one. We have the famous, the one and only Kristina Smallhorn, YouTube guru. Is that you like that word? Is that something you don't like to be referred as a guru?
Yeah, I feel like I earned it.
Yeah,
I feel like I've earned it.
I think you have. I think you have. Kristina, has been doing YouTube for several years for real estate, and has a tremendous channel. You guys should check it out. Hundreds of thousands of subscribers, hundreds upon hundreds of videos. And not only that, she's created a really awesome Facebook group dedicated to helping real estate agents figure out YouTube, which personally has probably been the best source of information I've ever seen for this topic. And she does a lot of things for the community, which I think is really cool. It's come from contribution, come from education, which is I love doing that too. She does live reviews of people's YouTube channels, which is awesome. It's like must-see TV. It's really good, not in a mean way, like in a helpful, growth way. I do live
Sometimes I get
reviews.
mean.
Yeah, well, maybe you've seen the nice ones. I do a lot of live reviews of Facebook ads, for example, here in this group. So things like that, like well, helping people with marketing. So I totally understand where she's coming from. So I asked her, and she was gracious enough to accept the invitation to come here, because she's an authority on this topic. And I really like talking to people that know what they're talking about
Yeah.
marketing topics for real estate. So Kristina, why don't you give us like the intro? Who are you? How'd you get into real estate? And how'd you find the journey into YouTube for marketing? Go for it.
Okay, so I've been a real estate agent since 2007, during the worst real estate market in history. It went from
Holy
the
cow.
best to the worst. And I was trucking along. I was doing really good because everybody told me I couldn't do it. So it was like one of those things like, you're just starting in the worst history, you're gonna do terrible in real estate. I'm like, no, I'm gonna make it. So I made it. I ended up having a really terrible, awful human being clients, like these people, soul sucking vampire people.
Wow.
And I almost quit real estate. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I literally was so depressed. I just laid in bed, like honestly, just laid in bed. And I'm like, I don't even want to see the world, and I kept telling everybody I was sick. I wasn't sick. I was just depressed. And I was like, I didn't know what to do. And it just so happened I was scrolling through YouTube, and I found this little angry man named Gary Vaynerchuk that was he was so like,
Gary.
and he's like, the biggest industry that's not using video like they should is real estate. And I just listened to him go on and on and on. I'm like, well, I'm an idiot. I can make videos. And so I started making videos. I did like goofy listing videos for people's homes, like I do like, The Price is Right, where I was opening the cabinets, and like I even bought like a ridiculously pink dress. And I started doing all that, and it was mostly just for Facebook. I wasn't doing anything on YouTube. And it wasn't until Facebook made it a pay to play. I was putting all my videos on my business page, and they were like, oh, from here on out, if you want people to see your posts, you're gonna have to get them to pay to see them. And I thought, that is a stupid waste of money. I'm not paying people to watch my goofy videos. So I found out that, the opposite was true on YouTube. Like they would pay you to put your videos on there. I'm like, I'm sure I'll never get to that threshold that anybody ever pays me to put my real estate videos on there. I mean, I'm not that exciting. So I was like, well, but whatever, at least I don't have to pay for people to watch it. And then I just got obsessed, because it's like a puzzle. It's like a game, and you're learning the game, and the pieces are always shifting on the board, and I'm learning new things, and things that were good here, like that move doesn't work anymore, so you have to do this. And it's just one of those puzzles I love to solve, and when I get it right, I love it.
That's awesome. And so what like put us in the time frame. When did you start this? And when did it kind of take off? Was it like a certain point in time where it like took off? You started to get business from it? Like
Yeah,
what
yeah,
tell us a
yeah.
little bit of
Well,
that
I
story.
always that was the coolest thing. Like as soon as I started my YouTube channel, like I was probably like 6 videos in, I wasn't even doing anything like special. Somebody called me from it. And I was like, oh,
Ah,
yeah, I was like, this
who
is,
knew?
and I was like, oh, I mean, I got like calls from my listing videos on Facebook, but it was mostly people saying, oh, that was so funny. I really liked it. Like it wasn't that they really wanted to buy the listing. So it wasn't until I like started doing stuff on YouTube that some guy called me. He was like, oh, I just saw all these videos talking about the area, and I figured if you're going to make a video every single week about your area, you obviously know it. I want to move here. And it was ended up being the biggest sale I ever had. So I was like, oh,
Wow.
yeah. So I was like, I was hooked from the beginning. I was hooked from
So
the beginning.
so so you had been doing these videos for Facebook, your Facebook business, and you had not gotten any leads from it, not gotten any business from it?
Recognition, like more, it was more like, what is it? Feeding the sphere, keeping top of mind. So I think it fed
Gotcha, gotcha,
my sphere of people because it kept
gotcha.
them
Your
thinking
your
about
your
me.
your Met database. It helped you nurture and stay in touch for your Met database. It didn't bring
Correct.
anybody new, it seems like, right?
Yeah, everybody knew I was doing these videos.
Okay,
Everybody would see me, like out in town, and they'd be like, "Oh, I saw her on Facebook." It just kept
got
them
it.
thinking about me. Like,
Cool, cool.
yeah. So I thought, I mean, like, and which was fine. I wasn't like looking for it as a lead magnet. Really, I like being goofy. This was the way to get the listings to go kind of viral, like the
Yeah.
listings got more viral, and like caused people to ask more questions about them. And it did get those listings sold a lot
Love it.
faster. So that works out good. But when I started doing like the videos on YouTube, I knew that it had to be something different. It couldn't be just listing videos. I saw a bunch of channels that were doing that, but I wanted to be in the videos, and that wasn't really what was working that I saw on YouTube when I studied it. And I came across several real estate channels that were out there on YouTube. Some of them are good,
Mhm.
most of them are bad. I couldn't find anybody to really reflect on and say, okay, this is what I want to do with my specific channel. But it took a while. And back in 2019, I decided I was not going to pay for another real estate conference. I was only going to go to social media conferences
Oh
because
wow. Like
I was like,
marketing, like my higher
yeah,
level
like I'll
marketing, not just real estate.
yeah, like I was because I was so tired of being $500 to death by getting really crummy information from real estate agents that it worked for them 5 years ago, but it isn't going to work in today's world. Like they're
Yeah,
like everybody in the real estate marketing, it just seemed like didn't know what they were talking about back then. And they
got it.
were all like feeding off other experts and they were just parroting what they heard, but they had no real life experience into what they were selling to people. And I was shocked at how many people like were willing to just pull out their checkbooks and just sign off on all this garbage that they're buying from people. And I'm like, they don't know what they're talking about. So that's why I was like, forget it. I'm going to the real marketing conferences. I'm going to find out how to do this for real. And then I ended up at it's called Vid Summit, and it was just exclusively for like the social media apps like Instagram, Pinterest, all this stuff. And I learned so much from that conference. It was worth every single freaking penny I'd ever paid for it. I mean, I was like, my mind was bleeding. And then I was so mad because of how much money I wasted at real estate conferences. I'm like,
I gotcha.
everything everybody needs to know is at a social media marketing conference. Like, we waste a lot of time at real estate conferences, a
Got it.
lot of time and money, and we're not getting the full picture of the information. So I was like, as soon as I got back home, I've told my husband, I'm like, look, like, you're not going to see me for the next 6 months. I'm going all in. He's like,
Ah,
all right, what are you doing? I was like, okay, my plan is this. So I had this whole plan that I was going to start, understand, like, searching YouTube, understanding who I was making content for, really diving into what like what the average time that people watch a video. I was really going to study YouTube, and then like really like turn my channel into a referral base only channel where I didn't have to sell houses anymore. But
Oh,
my
wow.
plan was that it wasn't going to happen until the end of 2020, going into 2021. So I was going to take that whole entire year to set up my channel that way and then focus off, just focus off of like trying to make like local
Gotcha.
content and all that other crap,
Yeah, because I look at your channel and you've got a lot of like more general topics or like real estate topics, not Tallahassee real estate topics, not
Well,
like hyper local content. That was intentional then.
right, totally intentional.
Ah, interesting.
Totally intentional. But I wasn't planning on doing it as quickly as I did. Like that
Oh,
was not in the cards at all. It was
got it.
just that I had started it as soon as, because this is the end of like it was November of 2019. And then
Wow.
all of a sudden, like everybody's world flipped upside down.
Something happened a few
Yeah,
months after
something
that. So
happened. Yeah, so
yeah,
I was
it's
like,
crazy.
yeah, I remember the last people I sold a house to too. They were giving me a hard time about the masks and the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, look, I'm not gonna lose my license because you guys, I'm not wearing a diaper on my face. Like I forget it. Like I can't do it because my dad has
Funny.
cancer and all this stuff. And I'm like, you know what? This is it. This is like a sign. If there's any sign out there
Gotcha.
in the world, this is the sign that says I'm doing the right thing. You're gonna go ahead and you're fast forwarding this much quicker than you anticipated. You're now no longer going to be showing houses and opening up doors and filling out contracts. You're going to just go ahead and hand these off to other real estate agents and you're going to be a referral only
Everywhere.
agent. Yeah. So that's what I did. I just, I super, like the goal was super boosted because of the fact of what happened because of the pandemic.
I love it. And and a question that I see very often here in my community and people that ask me is that how long does it take, right? They're like, because agents, we want the results yesterday. We want to turn on Facebook ads, and we want deals in the first 30 days. We want to start calling FISBOs, and we want deals in the first week, appointments the first day. So we want immediate results as agents. That's just I think I've made peace with that. That's just a real expectation. But what is a realistic expectation of someone going into it? And you have had a much more ambitious goal. It sounds like you wanted to, go nationwide and go, topics from anyone and anywhere. When someone approaches you, Kristina, and says, "Hey, how long should I put my head down and just create content nowadays?" How would you answer that question to someone that's just starting out? A realistic expectation.
Okay. Just like any piece of marketing. And like this is the part that always blows my mind. I literally just had this conversation with my students recently.
Okay.
Um, if you do if you do a mailing marketing one time, you just go around and you just put up mailers everywhere. How well does that work? I mean, if you only did it one time, how well would that work? If you only got on the phone one time and called expired listings and only did it once, how well would that work?
I can't
So
go.
it takes a lot of videos before it really like takes off. And it's a culmination of all your videos that really just will catapult you.
Got it.
It's a long game. Like I was very fortunate to do what I did when I did it and be ready for it when it happened because nobody expected the housing market to do what it did in the last 3 years. Not no, no, no,
Absolutely.
nobody does. And
Yeah.
so anybody with a camera during that time could have been a viral sensation. There was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that I had done way previous to the start of the pandemic, for everything to fall into place the way it did. And I've been very fortunate because of that. I've built an audience because of that. But
Love it.
for an expectation of a real estate agent that's just picking up their camera today
Yeah.
and the expectation of somebody that was doing it back in 2021 are two totally different things. And
I love that.
you got to look at it like that though, because just like anything, any like somebody got their license in 2020 and they think they're a hot shot because like everything I touch turns to gold.
I'm
Yeah, I bet it
amazing.
does.
I'm the
I
best
bet
agent ever.
I'm the best agent ever. It's just my second year. Like you know what I'm saying? Like they think that they're rock stars, and then all of a sudden the reality of everything is nothing's selling. Like the thing is that this is the time every agent should be looking at their marketing plan and strategy. What are they wasting money on? What are they wasting time on? And this is when you really need to hone your marketing skills, whether that be YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, pick something and spend this time that's quiet into something that's going to build your business when it's super busy. This is it. This is the moment. I a long time ago, the best advice I ever got from somebody, Linda Reeves, she said, enjoy the quiet times. Because if you do that and you set yourself up that when it's busy, you're ready. Enjoy it.
100%.
Get yourself.
Yeah. And YouTube has this funny characteristic, right?
Mhm.
That it reminds me of, I've been in real estate a while, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was about blogs. Hey, you can create these blogs. That was like a new thing, right? Like, oh, we can blog about real estate. You can blog for
I
SEO.
blogged. I was a blogger.
I hundreds of those, VA created blogs that, were very useful until when Google caught on to that, or the portals caught on to that, it kind of went away. But for a few years, it was amazing. And these are evergreen. This is not like regular marketing. This is evergreen marketing. And and for some people believed that, some people didn't. But some of these blogs had the potential to be evergreen marketing. SEO
Mhm.
based, content had the potential to be evergreen marketing.
I don't do
Is that
anything with
YouTube?
SEO though. Like that's
Oh,
another
interesting.
thing. Well, that's because okay.
Go for it. Let's unpack that. Those are fighting words, Kristina. Go for it. Tell me more
They
about that.
are because people are delusional when it comes to SEO and YouTube. They think that because they found this magic sauce of SEO words in some random keyword finder thing is going to make their YouTube video found easier, or it's going to find the audience, and that the magic computer is going to go find their magic keywords that they put in there, and then that's going to be the toxic soup that really makes their video take off. That is horse crap. And if you bought into something like that, go ahead and cancel your subscription.
Because
There is
a lot
no
of gurus say that right now. Like, was it Ask the Public and TubeBuddy, and there's all this industry
unplug
around
it.
the keyword
Unplug
searching
it.
things. You're saying don't believe it. Don't and well,
Soon as I stopped doing that back in 2019, which I was the like you couldn't tell me otherwise. I had a system and a plan, and I would spend a whole day crafting the perfect SEO paragraph with the keywords that I found in all those tools, and
yeah,
to make sure that my video was filmed in that way where I said those keywords in my video. Like, honest to God, I did the whole
yeah.
9 yards. It is horse crap because you're not doing what you need to do, which is satisfy an audience.
Hmm.
If you don't know who your avatar is, if you're just making random videos about real estate and think that you're going to be successful on it, you're literally throwing spaghetti against the wall and hoping that
Interesting.
something sticks. You need to understand that there's a specific person that is attracted to you, and you're going to make content for that specific person only. And it just so happens there's a ton of people that are just like that specific person. I happen to call him Frank. I happen to call that person Frank. His name is Frank. And I know how old he is. I know what he watches on YouTube. I know that I'm not the only person he watches. He kind of hate watches me more than he watches me because he likes me. I know that he shows up every week on my live streams. I know who my person is, and I'm only making content for that specific person. And that just so happens that there's tons of Franks all over the country, all over the world that watch
Love it.
my content that happens to, it fits that specific avatar. You have to satisfy an audience. The YouTube algorithm is not words and
Hmm.
SEO. It's not words and like magic pills and stuff like that. It's just satisfying an audience. Get them to click, have a really good title, and make sure they can watch that video all the way to the end. That's it. none of that other stuff. It's really just wasting your time, feeling like you did something. You're checking off boxes. I literally, the tag section in my YouTube videos, I do absolutely nothing. I go, my name, you're a real estate whisperer. I mean, I'm just putting whatever comes to my brain. Like, oh, this is about manufactured homes. Oh, yeah, they're called mobile homes. Sometimes people call them trailer homes. I'll just write that all in there. I'm not using a certain tool, to try to game the system against, for me, I'm going to get that viral video because I put these. No, none of that. Nope. Nope, not at all. And
I
YouTube
love
even
that.
said it's horse crap. YouTube
Ah,
said that. YouTube
I love it.
themselves said, no, craft a good thumbnail and title.
I love it.
Don't.
And Christine, so I mean, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. I think sometimes we look at those tools and like this tool will give me the solution. This tool is a proxy for me, knowing my avatar and knowing my client. This tool, does that, in an automated way. It's like taking a pill, right? Oh, this pill is going to solve, this problem for me. But I'm bought in. I like it. I think that's true. How should an agent? Let's put ourselves in that. Put on our local agent, hat. Give me a couple examples of what that thought process looks like for a real estate agent. I'm in San Diego, California, a big, a city a lot of people live in. So how should I think about that problem? And what are a couple of videos that I should be making to satisfy that client avatar? What do you think about that?
Well, so when you have, I like, this is a big debate that I have with people,
Ah,
especially if they're in the real estate space, because they think that their niche is the location that they live in. So they make
ah,
these videos that, like, they're talking about the burger place and they're talking about the local library, and then they'll show a house listing for sale, and then they're showing some neighborhoods, and then oh yeah, well, I heard that pros and cons does really well, so I'm going to make one of those videos and it does pretty good. But then they don't know what to make this week, so they're just going to go ahead and do another neighborhood tour. They have no plan whatsoever. They're all over the place. If you
they'll copy whatever works somewhere else and kind of go, oh, I'll just do that idea. Three
yeah,
reasons not to move to San Diego, for
yeah,
example, something
yeah,
like that, right? Yeah.
yeah, that worked for Jim over there in California, and I'm in Pennsylvania, so I'm going to go ahead and do what Jim does. Or they took a
Walking tour of Allentown. Let me, something like that, right? So yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. So you're
what's the
still not
problem with
doing
that?
that. That's not you're not a tour guide. You're a real
Mm.
estate agent, and you're just doing random walkthrough tours of things like that. Nobody cares about the burger joint. Nobody cares about the break place. Nobody cares that there's a new bath bomb place that opened up. You're not a tour guide for your city. Stop doing that. You're not the digital mayor. And I know there's a coach out there that tells you that's the way to get business, but I promise you on every fiber of my being that is such a waste of your time. Do
Mm.
not become the digital mayor. Do not review the hamburger place. Stop it. You're not a food critic. You're a real estate agent. And do you think that because you made a review on a burger place in your area that someone's going to call you to buy a house? You're such a waste of time. Stop. What is it that you're good at? What is your niche? Not real estate agents are not all good at everything, right? Some can't sell land. Some are really good at it. Some can't sell a condo. Some are really good at it. Some are really, really good at luxury home buying. Some people say they are, and they have no idea what they're talking about. Some people, like, there's always a niche within real estate, and that's what you should focus on. And
Interesting.
when I hear, but I just really like helping people, that's not your niche. No, I like helping people too. But what is it you're really, really, really good at in real estate, and focus in on that? That's what you should be focusing on.
So
Because
so
I'm not
not
good at
don't
everything. I can't even, I would never in a million years
and
dream of doing
and
commercial real
geography.
estate.
You're saying geography is usually going to lead you astray. That's not a niche, right? That's not, niche is it's not
No.
that's not the right way to think about it. What would be a better way to think about it? It's not going to be San Diego downtown walking tour. Should it be like, for example, I'll give you my example. I'm an immigrant to the U.S. I grew up in Mexico. I'm bilingual, right? So my superpower, right? And this is what I did as an agent actually, was working with people that had immigrated to the U.S. because I went to the U.S. To work in software, right? So I was like, "Are you a software engineer that recently arrived to the country? Let me help you out. I literally speak your language. And I've been through that. I know the visas, I know this, I know that. And that was managed. That was hot, 90% of my business kind of came through that. But you're saying I should have, in that example, I shouldn't be talking about San Diego. I should be talking about people arriving there, right?
Yes.
And answering their questions,
Right.
and
All the
maybe like,
pitfalls and how you can get into real estate, where you need to find a rental, like all of that. You have
hmm,
personal experience. You have a feeling and an emotion behind it too. You easily could talk to the camera about that without having to stumble or script or anything. Like that is your niche. That's
interesting.
it. That's who you're talking to. And of course, you could always have your local content. Of course, you can. But your niche is that you understand that. That is like my niche happens to be about affordable housing. It has always been about affordable housing before affordable housing became the most trendy thing under the sun.
Oh
Like,
yeah, tell me about
and
it.
like I've been talking about, manufactured homes, mobile homes, all of that stuff prior to the pandemic,
Wow.
and now middle class America is like, well, this is all I can afford. you know now I'm a
How
good
good.
resource.
The market found you. You
Yeah,
reached
they
out, and
sure
then like
did.
everyone arrived to that. And Kristina, why do you think we as agents struggle with that? Are we afraid that it's going to be too narrow? No one's gonna. It's too. I want to be the San Diego agent. I don't want to be the
Because
high
people
tech
are
engineer agent.
afraid to leave money on the table. They think that they'll fight over pennies, tripping over dollars. That's what they do. They think that well, I'm going to cut off too many people, and then I'll lose sales. And we're as traditionally real estate agents are very competitive. We're very secretive with knowledge on what brought us
Oh, 100%.
success. Um, we're uh, we're aggressive. We're aggressive people, and we are afraid to leave anything on the table. We have as traditionally as I've met people, there's a scarcity mindset, and they
100%.
think that because if they do this and do that and they focus in too much, they're cutting off too many other sales, and they can't wrap their brain around it. They just can't do that. They just can't, because all those years of training that have taught them to have that scarcity mindset, basically stepping on other people to make those pennies, tripping over dollars. They that's all they've ever learned. That's all they've
That's
ever learned. So then here I come in and say, nope, we're going to go through this as a collaborative effort. We are no longer competition, even if you're in the same market, because what you do as a real estate agent is not going to be the same as Jim right there. Jim is a land real estate expert. You are a first time home buying expert. Sure, could those cross pollinate over to each other? Absolutely. But now you guys are collaborators. You are not enemies, and this is not who's doing better than who, because your
I
audience
guess.
for buying land is completely different than the
Yeah.
person that's a first time home buyer. You guys should not be even comparing each other. You should be friends. That's what and
Interesting.
that's what I teach.
Yeah,
This,
no, it's
like,
an abundance. It's an abundance mindset. It's an abundance
right.
mindset. That, if Jim gets one more subscriber, it's not one that I lost, right? I mean that because you're literally thinking about it the wrong
Yeah. I mean, and like, I don't know. I always have tried to tell everybody I've never looked at anybody as competition. There are people out there on YouTube, they'll send me links and they're like, this guy ripped off your video and this guy did too. And I'm like, and I don't care. I mean, I am not somebody's cup of tea for
way.
everybody. I realize that. And you know what? If they felt like they needed to rip off my video and they got more views than me, maybe I should have done better on my video.
There you
obviously my video didn't really resonate as well as
go.
his did. What can I learn from this? Like, who cares? This is like this, all this stuff isn't real. Like it's not real. Stop looking at it as competition. We're all just human beings trying to make it on this stupid rock right now. Like it's so much more energy to be hateful to one another than it is to be helpful. And at the end of the day, I feel really good when I've helped a bunch of people. I'm like, I'm such a proud mama.
100%, 100%.
Yeah,
I
and
love it.
that's why that course that I mean that Facebook group that Malcolm Lawson and I run together, we have always made sure that it's that way. And he has his own real estate course for YouTube, and it's separate from my real estate course. And people are like, I don't understand. How is it that you guys are here? You're both selling a course. I don't know which one to, like, aren't you guys competitive? And I'm like, I know I'm not. Who cares? Like, I know I'm annoying. I realize that.
Yeah,
And he's
100%.
but yeah, so it's so right. So like there's going to be some people that are really attracted to the way that Malcolm teaches. He's much more calm and doesn't get really excitable. And then I'm the kind of person that's like, no, you can do it. And I'm very excited. And I will give you that tough love and all those other things. We're not for everybody, but we
This
run that group.
that those channel reviews are always so, the contrast, right? It's always good to see like both points of view, because you guys you guys have different starting points for looking at things.
Right. But so we each have our own course. And then
Yeah.
but we run a group together, and real estate agents, that blows their mind that we're so collaborative, and neither one of us, I don't care. Matter of fact, if you go to my website, I have Malcolm Lawson's name on my website that lets people know if you want to like book a one-on-one consultation with Malcolm Lawson, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he's not even on my course, but I'm like, I realize that sometimes people might have clicked on my link wanting Malcolm, so let's hook him up.
100%. I love that. And Kristina, it shows. We were talking a little bit before the interview, that one of the things that blew me away from the group, and by the way, it's Real Estate YouTube Mastermind. We'll
Mhm.
drop the link below so you guys can check it out. You guys should join. I think it's one of the best resources I found on the web because of that attitude the group has. And
Mhm.
I'm a true believer that these groups tend to have the personality of the leaders, right? And if the leaders are absent, whoever is the actual leader, right, the informal leader,
Mhm.
they tend to have that, personality. And holy cow, right? I've gotten a lot of, great feedback and, a lot of knowledge just from posting really simple questions. And, again, 101, kind of dumb questions, right? But people just taking the time to look at my channel and get feedback and just tell them about their personal story. And in this Facebook group, I've interviewed at least two people that are your students, right? That have got or that I've met through that
Probably.
group, talking about, one of them was using YouTube for real estate, doing a very decent channel together with expired listing calling. He would call expired and use YouTube as a selling point, right? Hey, I've got the one of the top YouTube channels here in the valley, right? And I was like, he
Mhm.
would close expireds from that, right? Like, holy cow. So a lot of people are doing really wild, really interesting things. Another guy, in the military niche, right? He was speaking to military families that relocated because he's a military family that relocated, to that particular area. So it's been a really, really great group. And it reflects those values you just talked about, right? It is about, let's help be helpful first, and good things will happen, right? On the back end. And I think it's rare to find that online. It's, because most of these groups are driven by, a guru that has a course, and it's a funnel. You're funneled
Oh, well,
through,
you're
right?
in a funnel. There's no doubt about it, but I'm not a pushy
100%.
salesperson.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, and I'm not a liar either. Like I literally
100%.
admit it's a sales funnel, and I literally answer questions in there in hopes that someday you'll decide to sign up for my YouTube course. I mean, you can't get any more cellophane clearer than that. I also have a YouTube channel with my friend Joe Eves. We have the Real Estate Video Geeks, where we do the channel reviews every single week. And if you watched the only video on there, I literally admit this channel was only created as a sales funnel to get you into our course. Let
Love
me
it.
explain
Love
what
it.
our course is. I
Yeah.
am so tired of being marketed to, promised everything under the sun, and getting absolutely nothing from it. So I decided that whenever I was marketing, I was going to do things differently. I wasn't going to
Got it.
use fancy words. I wasn't going to, try to do a little bait and switch. I was literally going to be as crystal clear as you could possibly be, and let them know, like, you're not going to get anything else from this other than some really good information. And I want you to sign up for my course. That's it.
I, I love it. I love it. And Kristina, we talked about, a really, we've talked about, a great topic, which is a really common misconception on how to create content, how to think about content for your channel. What are other big mistakes that agents make when they take the deep dive, into YouTube. That one about figuring out what content to create, I think that's number one. That's a big one. That's a big one because a lot of these YouTube channels are indistinguishable from each other. A lot of these real estate channels, you're kind of saying, hey, and if it's too generic, you're not talking to anybody. I love that. What other big
Uh-huh.
mistakes? What are the pitfalls people fall into when they
My
start on YouTube?
the one that makes me laugh more than anything, just because you named your channel living in Phoenix or moving to Phoenix, that you're going to have certain SEO search Google juice doesn't do anything for you. Not even a thread. Do you know what that does? It promotes the person who sells coaching, telling you to make a channel under that name. Yeah, all you're doing is promoting that guy. That's all, or that girl, whoever it is. It's not a way to build it doesn't give you any other extra Google juice. Let me just put it that
Love it.
way.
Love it.
I think the other thing too is that when you look at people's channels, the common mistakes is that they don't take the time and understand what makes a good thumbnail, and they
Mm,
depend on those AI tools to create and craft titles, which is really a bad idea because the titles read like an encyclopedia. It's so
mm.
bad. And no one's going to click on that. And they're like, well, how come I only got 35 views? Well, because you had a really crummy title and you had a really crummy
Yeah, this is a way for I got you. I got you, 100%. And what's your process look like for a thumbnail? I mean, titles you've already talked about a little bit.
Right.
It's about speaking to your audience, answering their questions, figuring that out. But what about the thumbnail? How do you approach the thumbnail creation and all that stuff?
So I do things backwards from what other people do. Most people will create a video, then they're like, "Oh, what would be a good title for this?" No, let me go ahead and while this thing is uploading, I'm going to go ahead and make a thumbnail for it, right? That's what most people do. I do it absolutely backwards. Before I even push record on a video, I come up with a title and thumbnail first, because if I
Uh,
can't make a good title and thumbnail first, why make the video?
Wild. Okay, so that's a very okay. I love that. That's really good because you're that's the window, that's the hook, that's the entry point into it. So you think about that first. That's
Absolutely.
your ideation of the video is what is an amazing thumbnail title and the content kind of comes from it flows from that.
Right. Well, I have a content strategy now that I've built over time. So I kind of know around about what I'm going to make that week. So sometimes some of my videos are about manufactured homes. So I'll know that I have to make a thumbnail that relates to manufactured homes, but I make more than one thumbnail for it, right? Sometimes I'll put a
God,
face on it. I want to see it with the CTRs. If you're not on YouTube, that means your click-through rate. I want to see how that's doing. If it's not getting the same amount of views that it normally would in an hour, I change out that thumbnail image, and I'll have like 5 images of a thumbnail
wow,
before, and I'm just rotating them out, seeing if that's gonna make it boost or whatever.
I got you.
So yeah, I already know pretty much what I'm making that week because I've done this for a period of time. But I'm always studying what's working on YouTube today. Like, because
Got it.
what worked 5 years ago doesn't work today. Remember 5 years ago, like everybody was putting this white line behind them, this white
Yeah,
stroke. Everybody had this like paper cutout image around their heads and stuff. That nobody does that anymore. You shouldn't do that anymore. If you're doing that, stop doing that. The trend has ended on YouTube.
got it. Got it.
Yeah. And so
100%. I love that.
yeah, go ahead.
100%. And there's this topic of I want to be mindful of the time, and I want to kind of ask you this last question. When it comes to analytics, right? Let's take the point of view of someone that's just getting started. They're not going to have the history or the knowledge yet. When you're
Don't worry
starting
about it.
out, what are the analytics you should notice? Because there's a lot of data. The YouTube Creation Studio is awesome. There's a lot of information there. When you're starting out, what should you focus on? You mentioned click through rate, which is like people.
Right.
It's
But I
clear
don't want to
whoever's
be, if
watched it.
you're just starting out, don't
Yeah.
worry about any of that. Just
Ah,
start
love it.
making videos. Just start
Okay.
making videos. I tell them not even to open up their YouTube studio within the first 90 days. Like if you've
Ah,
never picked up a camera before, you finally have a plan on what you want to film. Um, I will look at everything after 90 days. But the fact that you like literally were consistent and did that for 90 days, then we'll have something to look at. But if you're sweating over everything as soon as you publish it, you're gonna have like analysis paralysis, you know,
100%.
like just if you're new, just do it. Just put it out there. Make sure you have a good plan in place. Don't worry about the analytics. Just make sure you understand your avatar. You have a really good plan in place. Your niche isn't your location, and name your channel your name so no one else can take it from you. There's going to be 1,000 living ins and moving twos in your area, but there's only one you. There's only
I
one
love
you.
that.
So just name it that. They don't have anything special because they named it that. There's nothing going to make their content elevate over yours because they have a SEO channel name. That isn't a thing, by the way. That's not a thing.
I love that. I love it. And Christina, what is when you're starting out? What is that cadence? Is it week? So many people do weekly. Is it just weekly and set it and forget it? Do 90 days, a video a week, targeted to your audience.
So
That is that it?
I have a way of like teaching people how to launch your channel and launch it correctly. You know, if anybody wants to know about that, I'm going to plug it myself. It's
100%.
realestatevideogeek.com, and I show you how to actually release a channel and release it correctly so that way you can get, you know, the business that you want. But after that, yeah, there's no problem with having a video once a week. I know that in our real estate market, there's a lot of people that are promoting and pushing for all realtors to go ahead and start doing shorts. And I just want to advise everybody that shorts is a entertainment part of YouTube, or you're going to have to make this really interesting. If you are not super entertaining or you're not super interesting to make the most boring topic under the sun, which is real estate, interesting, people are going to just do this and you're wasting a lot of time. And it's a dopamine rush for a lot of real estate agents. They're like, wow, you know, I just put my third one out there and I got 1,300 views of nothing, of not a
Got it.
thing. Nothing. You know,
I got you.
yeah. So you actually would have been better with a reel than putting that on YouTube. YouTube, for the type of content that we make on YouTube, um, reels is where, you know, like that other stuff, just put on reels.
I got
Unless you have a just a home touring channel where you're just showing home tours, you can make shorts out of that.
I
That
got you. I got
works.
you. Well, actually, that's funny story because for my personal channel, my content, Reels has been much more successful for me. And I was going to ask you because although my I started on Facebook, so I'm more of a native Facebook person. So most of
That's
my
how I
audience is on
started.
Facebook. Well, I love that.
Mhm.
So when I started doing Reels very recently, maybe less than a year ago, it got way more engagement than anything else I'd ever done, right on Facebook. So I now just do them all the time, but definitely better than shorts, and that's probably the reason, note to self, reanalyze that YouTube shorts strategy, because Reels has been much more successful for me. Just based on my Instagram and Facebook Reels, just I've gotten more views and more engagement, more comments, more interactions, much more than YouTube Shorts. And I'm guessing that's the reason. It's not entertaining and not enough dopamine, not entertaining enough, and might not be the right audience for
Most real estate agents are not that interesting or entertaining to be able to pull it
it.
off. Just saying.
Yeah,
I
100%.
know, you know, it's like know your wheelhouse, you know, like we should know that. And
I love it.
you know, I know like I people send me stuff from conferences and stuff, and I quit going to real estate conferences a long time ago. And I hear somebody would record something and send to me. I'm like, they have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I love that take on the whole shorts thing. TikTok, same thing. I mean, does that? It just really
No,
depends on
TikTok
how.
is it's a completely different audience. It's a completely
Ah,
different thing. I don't necessarily think that you gain that's kind of like when I used to do the listing videos on Facebook. It wasn't necessarily that like people were calling me because they saw my videos, but it kept people top of mind,
love
right?
it.
So I think that's what TikTok is. It's honestly, TikTok has to be the easiest place under the sun to go viral and have that moment. You know, like if you really need a dopamine hit, you know, like you feel like you're, you know, like not making it today, just it's so low brow. Like you don't even have to have makeup on. Nobody
True.
cares. You know, it's like,
100%.
like you don't have to put out the best audio and have the best lighting. TikTok is just the opposite. Like the worse the lighting, the worse the audio, the more complaining you do, people are like, yeah, let's watch.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah. So, and
That's
I don't
awesome.
know. Like I heard recently TikTok may not make it.
So, well, yeah,
Again.
that's we'll see. We'll see on that one. But definitely YouTube is here to stay, and it's here to stay for the long term. So, Kristina, thank you so much. This has been a joy. It's been a lot. It's been really, really fun. I love talking to someone, like I said, that really, really knows what they're talking about at a deep level. It's done a lot of thinking about it and tinkering. Because, like you said, it's a moving target. What worked yesterday is not necessarily going to work today. So it's always about just figuring things out. And I love the way you tinker and share stuff on your group. If people
You.
want to continue the conversation, learn about what you're doing, get more in depth in your courses and your groups. I mean, let's restate all the different properties you interact with. What is the best way to get in touch with you and continue the conversation?
Okay, so you can go to realestatevideogeeks.com. That's where you can find our program. And that's how you can get in touch with Joe and myself. We run that course together. If you want to just like kind of, you dip your toe in real estate YouTube content. You're not even 100% sure. Malcolm Lawson and I run a group together on Facebook called Real Estate YouTube. Yeah, Real Estate YouTube Mastermind. He picked the name. It's wicked long. I always harass him about
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
You'll see if you're having trouble finding it, it has a red and blue banner. That's our group. You're more than welcome to join and be a part of that. If you want to just watch some of the live streams, you have a YouTube channel and you want to watch some of the live streams that Joe and I do with the channel reviews, go to again on YouTube, same name, Real Estate Video Geeks. And we have just go to the live section and we have tons of information on there. I did a very good live stream yesterday about making thumbnails and how to make them look really nice for YouTube as a real estate agent. So, check
Yeah,
that one out.
I love it.
Check it
I
out.
want to confess, it took me way too long to find the recorded ones on the channel because I wasn't used to watching lives on YouTube. But that's it. It's just as simple as that. Look for the live tab. Don't just go to videos. Go to the live. They're in a different place, like duh, and find it there because that is worth. That is, like I said, that's must-see TV. It's a really, really entertaining show, and very, very informative. And you guys really drive hard the important factors, which is thumbnail creation, which is how your channel even looks, organization, playlists. You guys, every week there's a really good topic. I've caught several of those. And I think it's an awesome, awesome show. So it's very entertaining, especially if you're dipping your toe in, trying to figure things out. I think it's a great starting point. So I love it. Awesome. Kristina, thank you so much. You have an open invitation to come back anytime. I would love to drill down into one of these topics again with you in the future. You're always welcome to return. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm doing a little dance on the way out.
All
It's
right.
all the music in
Th-
my head. No one else can hear
there.
it.
Thanks, everybody, and see you guys on the next one.